Hey guys, coming on again today. It's a topic that I was going to cover earlier, but I had a bit of an interruption, so I couldn't continue. I was thinking about North Korea today, and a general question came to mind about, um, what, I don't know, North Korea popped into my head. And, I went on Wikipedia and looked up some stuff about North Korea. And I found that in North Korea, the state has not allied with a religious sect. So, in the past, states have allied with religious sects. So, as a means of producing social control and propagating political power. States have found it advantageous in certain historical local circumstances to ally with religious sects, to defy the principle of separation of church and state, to ally with a particular official religious sect, and to make an official state religion. And they've done that because certain religions have proved advantageous to rulers to use them as a way of producing social control and propagating political power and producing behavioral control, ultimately. And, but why has North Korea opted not to do this, right? Is an interesting question. And, why has it aligned itself with atheist perspectives? And I think the thing is it's mostly because in North Korea, they have a system of government where decision-making power is totally concentrated in a figurehead, right? In a single executive actor. And in North Korea, there is a primacy of the executive. And democracy is not really, well, obviously it's not a thing there, so they have more of kind of an authoritarian dictatorship in a way, from what I understand. And so, but we've had dictatorships in the past historically that have allied themselves with religious sects and made official state religions. So why hasn't this particular authoritarian dictatorship done so? Not done so. And I think it's because in North Korea, almost godlike, idolizing qualities are attached to the central executive, Kim Jong-un, at this point. And the executive is regarded as almost he has a kind of authority that is unquestionable and almost divine in its proportions. And the word divine becomes very relevant here. Why North Korea has taken this particular path is pretty obvious, I think, when you consider it from this perspective. If you recognize the existence of a deity or some sort of theistic entity, a god, you implicitly, and if the state does that, you implicitly state that there is an authority above the dictator, that God is the ultimate authority and not the dictator. And that's very dangerous for authoritarian regimes, because the people then place authority in God rather than the dictator. And to preserve the absolute, unquestionable authority of the dictator, the state does not take the risk of allying itself with a particular state religion. Because then people would begin to perceive that there is an authority above the dictator. Something that the dictator has to answer to. And that reduces the authority of the dictator. And so I think that's why North Korea has aligned itself with more atheist perspectives and more atheist perspectives, so as to prevent the perception that there is an authority above the dictator. And the dictator then has greater authority and primacy in the minds of their subjects. And so at the same time that religions in the past have historically proven beneficial to ally with and for the state to ally with and to create official state religions, there's the risk there, of course, that the people begin to perceive implicitly that there is an authority that is above the dictator, that is above the ruler, and that is God. And so the people then listen to God rather than the dictator. And that obscures the dictator's authority and weakens their hold on authority in people's minds. And so I think that's why North Korea has decided historically to not ally itself with a religious sect and with a theistic sect. And it's because they want to preserve the authority of the dictatorship. And so, I think that's the primary reason why we see that in North Korea there is this more atheist state-sanctioned atheism, more state-sanctioned atheism, and so yeah, so I think that's the reason. Maybe other people would have thoughts on this, but I think that's the best reason I can come up with anyway. And in the West we have more separation of church and state, so it's kind of the same thing. The difference is we have separation of church and state. They have state-mandated atheism. So there's a difference there, right? In the case of our Western states, no position is taken on religion. No alliance is formed with religion in the state sense. In North Korea, there is an alliance formed with a kind of state-mandated atheism. So there's a very subtle distinction, not really a very subtle distinction, but there is a distinction that has to be recognized there. So yeah. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know whether in North Korea religion is banned. If they've gone that far, probably. Maybe someone else knows more about the policies of North Korea. But I imagine that religion is banned in North Korea. And freedom of belief and freedom of association are both very restricted in that sense. So I think this is the reason. But I could be wrong. I also could be wrong about the specific way in which atheism is state-mandated. Obviously, if you're banning religion, then there is a kind of state-mandated atheism, where the authority of the divine authority of the dictator is preserved by not introducing an authority above him. So maybe that's why. Thank you for watching.